Good morning, my people. Good morning, everybody. What is going on? Happy Monday. Monday, November 25th, Thanksgiving week. I appreciate you guys hanging out on this Monday morning. We got a lot to get into this morning, everybody. We got a lot. I have so much notes. Why'd I take so much notes? I have a lot of notes this morning. We got a lot of great stuff coming from the weekend. Not really a lot of great stuff if your team is the Los Angeles Lakers, or if your squad is a Los Angeles Rams, or maybe you're a UCLA fan. You're probably not walking away feeling all that great. But a lot of good stuff from just a sports perspective, and we'll get all into it. Hopefully everybody had a great weekend. I got a lot of stuff that I'll share with you guys as well. Had a busy weekend myself, kind of back and forth. Went to the Laker game on Saturday. Was it a waste of time? I don't think it was a waste of time. I thought it was time well spent, even though it didn't go exactly as planned. Saw a couple of movies over the week. What the hell's going on? I saw a movie on Friday and Saturday. It was like I basically lived at the theater over the weekend. I think one of the things that we'll get into that's not sports related is I got a couple movie previews that I'm going to let everybody in on. As you guys can see right here, the full list of what we got going on. Nuggets continue to own the Los Angeles Lakers. Literally, they own them. They own them. Just kind of another crazy game where the Lakers thought for a quick second, hey, everything's looking good. And then third quarter started. I forgot you got to play two halves there. I'll spend some time about the Lakers truly just getting their asses kicked again by the Denver Nuggets. JJ Redick quote had some quotes that I thought were interesting, said a little bit about the team. I got a question for, I think, Laker fans. We all got to be honest with each other this morning and talk a little D'Angelo Russell. I want to spend some time on D'Lo. Russell Westbrook looked like he was having a good time certainly having a good time on Saturday. We'll talk about that. Rams last night, Sunday Night Football. So two nationally televised games. You had the Rams last night. You have the Chargers coming up tonight on Monday Night Football, so we'll spend some time on both those squads. USC over UCLA, I don't think anybody cares. And then we'll look at some college football stuff and the weekend recap. So thank you very much for being a part of it. I got my tea right here. Already did the coffee. So now we're at the tea. Remember I told you guys that I'm only going to read you guys quotes that I think are good quotes? Well, I lied because I don't know if I like this quote, but I'm going to read it anyways because why not? May all beings be happy. That's it. That's a quote. May all beings be happy. Okay. All right. I'm not sure what I can do with that, but I'll do my best on that front. May all beings be happy. All right, a couple comments here, and then we're going to get started here. Good morning. Thank you very much. Happy Monday to you as well. Good morning, everybody. Good morning, Big Slee. Coffee is ready to go. For those who don't know, good morning, fam. Morning, Slee out there. Good morning. Somebody's throwing in, I'm tired of the Nuggets. I don't blame you. Somebody's throwing a fight on here. I don't know how many of those we're going to have. Probably not many. I don't think SC thought this was the season that they would be excited to beat UCLA. I'm sure they're probably excited to beat UCLA, just not happy with all the other games. All right, let's get the show started. So thank you very much for being a part of the show. If you guys don't mind, please subscribe to the channel. Monday through Friday, we're right here. Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. This week will be a little bit different. So I'll go Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. No go. No go for Slee. I submitted my request for vacation. It was approved. Last night, it got approved. Yeah, it's hard. Let me tell you guys something right now. Our HR department, we got to go through a lot of hurdles to get a little time off. And HR has not been very friendly with me. They're basically just saying, it's Lee, you want to do stuff on your own? You have to work your ass off. We'll do show Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. I'll have Lakers postgame tomorrow. And then Lakers don't play again until Friday. Friday night, I think it's am I right on that? I'll have to double check the schedule here. I know they got Monday. Oh no, I'm wrong here. Tuesday there'll be a post game. Wednesday there'll be a post game. Friday there'll be a post game. So Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday I'll just slave away. But then Thursday we're going to take the day off for Thanksgiving. You know what I'm going to do also on Thanksgiving? I'm going to get you guys a spread, just the video of what the Chaldean feast looks like on Thursday for Thanksgiving. We'll put that. I'll get all that, and I'll throw it up on social media so you guys can see what the hell I'm going to be eating on Thursday. I know we're all going to be looking forward to that. Did I mention that the Denver Nuggets own the Los Angeles Lakers? Do you guys know that the Nuggets have now won 13 of their last 14 games against the Lakers? You know, I know we joke around about this, and these terms get thrown around very loosely. The who's your daddy, right? And there's a lot of that with the Nuggets and the Los Angeles Lakers. I see that. You know, I've mentioned this before. There are a lot of times I'll listen to a post-game show that's on the other side because I want to listen. I want to see what the other side has to say. So I did that, and one of the things that I think came out of this entire thing is like I have nothing to combat that. If a Nuggets fan came on and right now said we own the Los Angeles Lakers, I'd probably say nothing. I'd just probably put my head down. I would not make eye contact with them. Denver has won 13 of 14 against the Lakers. They won 5 regular season games in a row, dating back to last year. Might have been 6 now. I think it's 5. And then they got the 8 playoff games, right? 8 playoff games. A year and a half ago, they swept the Lakers. Last year, they won in 5 games, and they didn't have Aaron Gordon on Saturday. It didn't matter. Denver psychologically owns the Los Angeles Lakers. They own them mentally, and they own them because they're just better. They play better basketball. It's a better brand that the Nuggets bring out every time they play the Lakers. And I think it's a combination of 2 things. I think sometimes you could watch a game and you could say to yourself, all right, well, that team is just better. And then there's other times you can watch a game and you could say, they psychologically, that team just knows it has an advantage against their opponent. They own them mentally. For the Nuggets, it's both. They own them on the basketball floor. They own them before the game starts. They own them after the game ends. They own the Lakers. How about this? Look how crazy this stat is. You guys know that the Lakers took a 10-point lead. I was there Saturday night. I'm like, hey, it was actually kind of funny because I've been obviously so many games. I worked at ESPN LA for 15 years. That entire time that I was there, we owned the Lakers radio broadcast. So just think about how many times I've walked into crypto.com arena over the years, whether I was on the business side, whether you were entertaining your clients, whether I was there just covering the team and watching Lakers basketball. Over time, you don't really get that excited anymore to go to a game. It's like, no, this is just part of the gig. I've been doing it for so long. I was genuinely excited to go to the game on Saturday. I thought to myself, and you guys have heard me, whether I'm doing the show here or I'm doing it on the post-game show, I want to see the Lakers versus good teams. I love seeing that. I want to see how they stack up against the elite in the Western Conference. And even if Denver's not elite, because, they've lost some of the key role players over the years, Bruce Brown, Jeff Green, KCP, whether they're elite or not, they have the best player in the world. By the way, that conversation, I'll get into it in a second. I don't want to know who's going to be the MVP. I want to know who's going to be 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and 5th, because Nikola Jokic is the best player in the world. And it ain't close. It's not even close. But the thing I was getting to, so I'm getting ready to go to the game on Saturday. I was genuinely excited to go game. I'm saying to myself, I'm like, all right, you got a team that's got off to a good start, the Lakers. They're 10-5 starter. Should they have beat the Orlando Magic? Sure, they should have beat Orlando. Okay, it didn't happen. You missed some free throws, some mental errors there. But I'm good with the Lakers. I'm good with how they started. I think this is going to be great to see them against Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Michael Porter Jr. and the Denver Nuggets. Let's see how the Lakers do. First half, they're up 10. By the time the half closes out, Lakers are up 6. Let me just tell you how crazy this swing was. You never really see a swing like this in the NBA. Lakers went from up 10 late in the second quarter to down 29 in the fourth quarter. Denver owns the Lakers. They just do. I wouldn't be surprised moving forward that every time the Lakers play the Nuggets, you're going to have some personnel, some staff outside of Crypto.com Arena, and they have their logo there that says the Denver Nuggets, and then they determine whether the Lakers can walk into their own building. Denver owns them. They absolutely own them. I want to play a quote for you guys, or I'm going to play a quick piece of sound for you guys, which I think tells a little bit of the story. And this is not a good look for the Lakers. But let me share my screen with you guys real quick. This is JJ Redick right after the game. Listen to the first thing he says about the Lakers in this game. Take a quick listen.
JJ, what do you think happened in the third quarter?
Schematically, certainly we'll have to review some stuff. Clearly, the spirit to compete just wasn't there.
Clearly, the spirit to compete just wasn't there. I'll play it again. You don't hear this very, very often here. Listen to this.
Certainly we'll have to review some stuff. Clearly, the spirit to compete just wasn't there.
All right. I'm going to stop it right there. That's all I really need to hear. By the way, JJ, do me a favor, my brother. I'm a fan of JJ Redick. I'm a fan of what this guy has done so far. I think he's going to be a Laker coach for a while. Can you do me a favor? What was that, lifesaver in your mouth? What's going on in your mouth? Why don't you take that out for the postgame show? We don't need to hear you sucking on something while we're listening to the postgame show. I don't know if you need that. Let's go ahead and be a little bit more professional on that standpoint. But let me go back to what he just said right there. The quote that for me just really, really resonated and stood out. Clearly, the spirit to compete wasn't there. So let me get this straight. The Lakers are playing a team that has completely dominated them. It's the first time they get to play Denver so far this year. I'm sure there's got to be a lot of questions in the pregame, listening to JJ talk. There was a lot of interaction of, hey, how much did you go back and watch the last couple of years? Denver's really, really owned the Lakers. How much of that can it continue? And he said, look, maybe to an extent it could continue, but at the end of the day, it's different coaching staffs. This is not the same exact team. Whatever happened in the past, it does not apply to tonight's game. I got to imagine Lakers are looking forward to playing the Denver Nuggets. They're probably saying to themselves, okay, listen, we've got off to a really good start. We got a really good team as well. They got to feel good about where they're sitting, where they're going, the whole thing. They come out in the third quarter, and your coach says the spirit to compete wasn't there. What gives the Lakers the right? What gives them the right to come out and not compete against Denver? And they didn't compete. And then before you knew it, you're looking up at the score and you're saying to yourself, were they just up 10 and now they're down 5? Are Lakers down 8? Are they down 15? Are they down 20? It all just kind of happened so fast. And then before you know it, I'm looking around, getting ready to start the postgame show. And I'm like, where's everybody going? Well, I know where they're going. They're going home. There's nothing left to watch. Just an ass kicking by Denver. But I thought, to me, what was much more disappointing than the loss was that quote from JJ Redick, that the squad didn't have a spirit to compete against a team that you would think that the Lakers would get up for. You would think that, and I heard Anthony Davis saying some stuff after the game that they were, all the misses that they had were discouraging. All the makes that Denver was hitting. I think Denver shot 60% from the field and 50% from the three-point line. I remember because I did the postgame. But I think you take that combination and you hear Anthony Davis saying, well, it's because they were hitting shots and we weren't hitting shots. That I listening to things like that is very frustrating. If you're not ready to compete against the Denver Nuggets, and if you're getting discouraged because you're not hitting a couple of shots and they're hitting a couple of shots, what does that say about your squad? That tells me that that's a team that is not ready to fight. That also tells me that that's a team that, that ain't championship DNA. And I'm not trying to make a case for you that the Lakers, as constructed right now, are a championship team. But when you lose to Denver, you lose the way you did when your coach says basically you guys were not ready to compete in the second half or disinterested in competing. And then I hear AD and some of these other players, it's a make or miss league. And when they're hitting shots and we're not, that's discouraging. It's like, All right, well, freaking fight. I mean, do something about it. Lakers didn't do it. And they got their asses kicked, and they deserve to get their asses kicked. And it was just another game, I thought, against Denver where they brought you right back down to reality. And that's where I kind of walked away from this past weekend watching the Lakers. Couple more things I want to get into from that game specifically. I want to talk Jokic versus AD for a quick second as well. But before I do so, let me see some of your guys' comments here. Let's see what we got here. Let's take a look. Let me go back a little bit because I know a lot of comments came in once I started talking about the Lakers. Somebody's asking, are we invited? What's the address? You're talking about the Middle Eastern food? Listen, you're not invited. It's nothing personal. It's just, we don't have space. We don't have room. I got a lot of family. Got a lot of cousins out there. I honestly think we beat every team in the NBA except the Nuggets. I respect the Nuggets players. It's just the coach and their fan base. Well, let me tell you this. If you're upset at Denver for whooping your ass, then you're upset at the wrong, you're mad at the wrong side. You should be mad at your own team for not winning. So then that fan base can't do what they're doing, and the Nuggets can't do what they're doing. All right, let's see what we got here. Let me see a couple more here. All right, Mike, I was joking, man. Do you have an HR department? I thought you said you have no boss. Well, don't forget to use your 5 days of sick time. I am the HR department, Mike. Yeah, I was just joking around, buddy. I was just joking around that I had to submit my my time off. Let's see some of these more of these comments. Lakers lack perimeter defense. That's a difference. Wolves. Can I tell you guys something? I don't care about the X's and O of the game on Saturday. I really don't. I don't give a flying you know what. Clearly, the spirit to compete wasn't there. If Denver just beat the Lakers because they were just better, and by the way, they might just be better, and that might just be the reality of these two teams. That's fine. Stuff like that's going to happen. My issue was you got your coach basically saying, yeah, the guys cared. They just didn't really care all that much. That if that happens against, and I'm not telling you that it's okay for it to happen against a bad team, but hypothetically, if that happened against a team that wasn't all that good, that happened against a squad that you just knew that you were going to beat, that's different. You can't wake up for Denver. You're not up for the Denver Nuggets. That part I have a difficult time understanding. Let's see some more of these comments before I get into it. Wild swings like our stock market. Eddie, they went from up 10 to down 29, and that wasn't even in a full game. That was literally in less than 26 minutes of basketball time. 2 minutes left to go. They were up 10, and by the time you got, I think it was in the fourth quarter with a few minutes left, they're down 29. I want to, and I'm going to definitely get into Jokic versus Anthony Davis because there's a little bit there that I think there's a lot to chew on. Here's another one. The spirit to compete wasn't there. Guess that's why D'Lo only got 18 minutes. Guys, I got some real concerns with D'Angelo Russell. He's actually one of my just topics alone that I'm going to get into in just a second. I got some stats too that just I don't think are I don't think it's interesting where they're going to go. Good morning, everybody. Those that are just coming in right now. All right, a couple more comments, and then I'm going to get into. I'll get into D'Lo. Guys, save your D'Lo. Trust me. Just save your D'Lo for a quick second. We're going to get into D'Angelo Russell. Don't worry. Eddie, like and subscribe if you guys don't mind that. We'll greatly appreciate that. All right, let's keep going here. Remember, there was a conversation. I'd say the last week or so, in the last week, where Anthony Davis and the MVP chatter. I want to do two things here. By the way, I still think Anthony Davis should be in the MVP chatter. I really do. I really feel like he should still be in the MVP conversation. And ESPN came out with an article today kind of ranking where they have everybody, and theirs was accurate. The Ringer a week ago, I don't know what the hell they were talking about when they were putting Anthony Davis at number 8. Let me show you guys something here real quick. Okay. I'm not. Do I share my screen? I'm gonna share my screen. I think I did this in the post game show, but I'll share my screen so you guys get a quick chance to take a look here. Let me find this here. Yeah, I think that's what I'm sharing here. All right, let's take a quick look here. Okay. The best player in the world plays for the Denver Nuggets. Look at his stat line here real quick. And let's not even have an MVP conversation because there's no conversation to have. 34, 13, and 8. My man, Nikola Jokic, was a plus 39 in the plus minus. I don't know how many times I've seen a plus minus that high. I might not have. Maybe I haven't. I just can't remember off the top of my head. Nikola Jokic on Anthony Davis dropped 34, 13, and 8 like it was a regular day in the office, like he literally just put his boots on. He clocked in at work, had lunch right at noon, clocked out at 5 o'clock, played 9 to 5, went home, wife, kids, sat down, and then went to sleep. Okay? That's Nikola Jokic every single night. He did it against Anthony Davis. Here's AD's line. 14 and 10. Did have 3 steals, did have 2 block shots. Anthony Davis was a minus 26 when the Lakers had Anthony Davis in that lineup. We don't see this often. This is why I'm highlighting it. I'm showing it because we probably may not see this again the rest of the season. But against Nikola Jokic, the MVP of the NBA, the best player in the world, and it's not even close how much further he is from the rest of the pack. And I don't care. You could say Giannis, you could say Tatum, you could say Luka, you could say Shea, you could say Anthony Davis. Nikola Jokic is the most valuable player in the NBA, and it's not even close. Anthony Davis, 14 points, 10 rebounds, minus 26 against Nikola Jokic. Jokic on the other side, 34, 13 and 8, and plus 39. That is, if we thought for a second there that the Denver Nuggets dominated the Los Angeles Lakers, add something to that. Jokic absolutely dominated Anthony Davis. Absolutely dominated Anthony Davis. So you got those two. First, you got the 2 squads. You got the 2 teams where Denver obviously dominates. And then you just have that matchup. That matchup against those 2 guys, it wasn't even close. It literally was not even close. And that's Nikola Jokic. Literally, this is just another day in the office for Nikola Jokic. So the conversation, I think, still can be had about MVP chatter. But when the dust settles, the MVP is going to be Nikola Jokic, as long as he plays the amount of games he's supposed to play and everything else. Joker is the man, no doubt about it. Only one guy can win MVP or can be MVP. It's Jokic. Let me see what else we have here. I listen. I see people putting here on the chat that the Lakers got to go get a real big, or then you could have AD play the 4. That's probably the only way that you can sort of contain Nikola Jokic. You guys remember back in the day when they had Dwight Howard, they had JaVale McGee, and now Anthony Davis can kind of roam a little bit. That now he can kind of find a way. Now Anthony Davis doesn't have to put all of his attention on Nikola Jokic. You can have another big that could at least stand in front of Jokic, and Anthony Davis can help off of him. So, and listen, we've seen this a lot. We've seen a lot of the chatter and the conversation has been around Laker rumors, and those rumors specifically on Lakers needing to go get another big, Jonas Valanciunas, Brook Lopez, whatever the name is, right? They got to go get a legitimate big, and that's probably the only way that you find yourself slowing down Nikola Jokic, because Anthony Davis can help. But that matchup one-on-one on Saturday, the matchup against Denver was lopsided. The matchup against Nikola Jokic and Anthony Davis was completely lopsided. Not even close. Let's keep this thing moving here. ESPN had... So here's what ESPN's doing right now. They're doing their early MVP picks. They're doing their early rookie of the year. They're doing all this stuff. We're not going to spend too much time on this, but I just want to, I'm going to show everybody so we can all kind of look at this together. This to me is a much more accurate. It's a much more accurate. I don't know what the Ringer was doing, and I've said this a couple times. Who will win MVP? They got Jokic getting 50 points. I guess what they're doing here, if I'm correct, it's through 100 points, whatever it is. Gets 67% of the first place votes. I got no issue. AD is number 2 on that list. Okay, now we're talking. Anthony Davis is not Nikola Jokic, but he's also not number 8 like the Ringer had him. So it just shows this is giving Anthony Davis credit for what he's done this year. I will say the last 2 games for Anthony Davis, here's what you remember from Anthony Davis. You remember the missed free throws against the Orlando Magic. We all remember that. Misses 3 of his last 4 free throw attempts, and that's your ball game right there. And then we remember this game against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. He's a minus 26. Jokic is a plus 39. Something I thought was interesting here, win Rookie of the Year, just something to point out here. And this is going to get me to my next topic, Dalton Connect. Jared McCain, Philadelphia, 56 points, 83% of the first place votes. Dalton Connect, number 2. I'm not watching Jared McCain. I know Philly is getting their ass kicked. I think they got three wins on the year. But it sounds like this guy's a complete baller, and I think was taken right before Dalton Connect at number 16, or right in that range, something along those lines. But Connect is on that list. He's getting the love and respect. AD is number 2 on Defensive Player of the Year. And then I saw JJ Redick got some votes for Coach of the Year. I think he's tied for 4th. All right, we got a long way to go, but Lakers are certainly represented on that list, so something to keep in mind there. Okay. Let's keep going here and just kind of take it from there. I mentioned real quick, I don't want to spend time on this because I don't know if this is going to be a conversation down the road or not, but I'll share with it anyways. Rui came back and went right back into the starting lineup. And I'm not here to try to make an argument that Rui should not be in the starting lineup. All I'm saying is if the Lakers lose a couple games here, if they Rui's back in the starting lineup and now all of a sudden the offense isn't flowing as well, whatever the case is, whatever it looks like. The one thing that can't happen with the Lakers right now is Dalton Connect not get enough minutes. I don't think that's going to be an issue, but he was so good for about a 2-week stretch there, and Lakers were playing some good basketball. Just something to keep in mind if they're not playing well. I mean, he still ended up playing, I think, 28 minutes in the game on Saturday. Lakers got their asses kicked anyways. But that's going to be an interesting dynamic. If he is a part of the offense, okay, when he does come in, is he playing with LeBron and Anthony Davis? How many different guys? Is he more of a weapon when he's in with the bench, more of a weapon when he's in the starting lineup? Just something to keep in mind here, and we'll see how it goes. But Rui came back from his injury, went back into the starting lineup. It's not a conversation or a topic yet, and I'm not even saying it's Rui that goes, but all I'm saying is Dalton Connect, you got to make sure that dude gets the proper amount of minutes as we go through the season. Okay, let's look at a couple of these comments here, and then I got a couple other topics that I want to get into. Yes, nobody's slowing him down, Joker, but if we could throw 2 big bodies at the Joker, might be the only formula. I don't disagree with that. Palenka had the bigs in 2020 versus Denver, then let them go. Denver owns them ever since. A lot of people were not happy about some of the moves that, obviously the Lakers made after winning an NBA championship. So here we go. It's just C. First day to hear Slee live. What's up, Slee? Coming from Vegas. Thank you, my brother. I appreciate you being a part of the show, and thank you for joining me on the live. Thank you very much for doing so. All right. Dalton had 7 shots. Not enough. Definitely not enough. 100% not enough. Dalton's a good player. I mean, Dalton is kind of, in a weird way, changed around the Lakers season. That's how good Dalton Connect has been to start out the year. They got to figure out a way to, obviously not just get him minutes, play him with the right guys. Sometimes you can get 28, 30 minutes. Who am I playing with? Am I playing with D'Angelo Russell and Gabe Vincent, or am I playing with LeBron, Anthony Davis, and Austin Reeves? There's a big difference of what those minutes look like based on the players that you're playing with. Okay, stock D-Lo here real quick. Guys, I got some ugly stats for you guys, man. Ugly. By the way, and I still got NFL stuff that I'm going to get into. We're going to talk about the Rams. Chargers got a big game coming up tonight as well. I'm a huge Baltimore Ravens fan tonight. I don't know if you guys know how big of a Ravens fan I am tonight. Love the Ravens. Always love it. I've loved the Ravens since around November 22nd. November 22nd is when I found out it's Chargers-Ravens on Sunday night. That's when all of a sudden my passion for the Ravens, it just doesn't get any higher. All right, let's talk D'Lo here for a quick second. Is D'Lo done? Is D'Angelo Russell done? Like, let me explain what I mean here when I say is D'Lo done. Is the faith in D'Angelo Russell, have you lost your faith in D'Angelo Russell of not just churning around this season, but really his career in the NBA? He's on the final year of his contract, and I have no idea what his value is going to be. Let's just pretend. Let's not even get into the trade deadline. Let's forget the trade deadline. Let's just pretend he's a Laker the rest of the year. Who's signing D'Angelo Russell to a 3 or 4 year, $60 million deal in the NBA? Is there a team out there that's looking right now and saying, man, when D'Angelo Russell becomes available, we got to go get him? If there is a team out there that's saying that, and the numbers that I just threw out there, 18 a year, 20 a year, something like that, that general manager is going to get fired. Now, listen, can D'Angelo Russell find a home? Can he come at a discount? Can teams say, listen, we're going to give you a 1-year deal for $8 million, $10 million, whatever it is. You got to prove to us that you can go out there and make it happen. Maybe a team is offering 2 years, $18 million, $20 million. I have no idea. But my question to Laker fans out there is, D'Angelo Russell, do you have any faith that this man is going to turn around his career? He's not old, 26, 27 years old, whatever he is. Can I just tell you guys, these are D'Lo's stats in the last 5 games for D'Angelo Russell. All right? These are his stats. He went 5 of 11 against the San Antonio Spurs, hit 2 of 3 threes. That's not a bad game for D'Angelo Russell. Ended up with 13 points and 6 assists. Okay? That's the best game that I can see from D'Angelo Russell, it seems like, in a couple of weeks. The best game D'Lo can throw right now is 5 of 11 from the field. Okay? Pelicans, 2 of 5 from the field. Finished with, points-wise, what he finished with? 7 points. Next game against the Jazz, 2 of 8 from the field, 8 points. Next game against Orlando, 3 of 10 from the field, 1 of 7 from the three-point line, 7 points. Saturday against Denver, 2 of 9 from the field and had 7 points. Let me give D'Lo, if I'm going to give credit to D'Lo in one thing, he could still get you dimes. 5, 6 assists a game in each one of these games that I'm talking about. But I think this says it all. D'Angelo Russell, his last 5 games, played 30 minutes, then 21, then 26, then 23, is now playing 18 minutes for the Los Angeles Lakers in the game on Saturday night against the Denver Nuggets. I don't care what anybody says. You know, JJ Redick can say the right things, and players can go out there and say, you know, they could say whatever they want. Actions speak louder than words. There are times when I'm watching D'Angelo Russell play for the Lakers, and I'm asking myself, how is this dude even getting 15 minutes? He doesn't look interested. His body language is shit. There's nothing about his game right now that tells me, oh, this dude's going to go in the trenches with the Los Angeles Lakers. He's going to roll up his sleeves. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. I don't have that feeling. I don't get that feeling from D'Angelo Russell. And frankly, I don't know if JJ Redick's got the same feeling. He went from, again, last game Lakers just played against Denver. He played 18 minutes. Max Christie played 17. Gabe Vincent played 14. And the reason why I'm giving the comps in minutes is because, are his minutes going up? He's coming off the bench. The guy went from a starter, now coming off the bench. Okay, but even if you come off the bench, you're still going to play starter minutes. Nope, that's not the case anymore. He's slowly just trickling down with what his value is with the Los Angeles Lakers, how much he's able to contribute on a night-in, night-out basis. I got some real concern if D'Angelo Russell's going to turn this thing around. I think at this point, it's going to become a surprise for me if D'Lo's shooting 29% from the three-point line. It doesn't feel like to me that D'Lo, over time, his confidence is going to get even higher. Why would his confidence get higher? Nothing in his game right now, and it doesn't seem like the team or the organization or the head coach, it doesn't seem like they're in a position right now where they're saying to themselves, just give D'Lo more opportunities. It's going to turn around. I don't see it. I have, this is the most discouraged I've ever been about D'Angelo Russell as a Los Angeles Laker. I know there were some times in the playoffs where he struggled in the postseason, but he also was a big piece of getting them to the playoffs. He was a big piece of winning the series against Memphis or Golden State when they got to the Western Conference Finals, until he was basically, you couldn't play him come postseason. This is the most discouraged I've ever been about D'Angelo Russell, and I don't know what's going to change it. I don't think anything's going to change it. I think the position that he's in, I think you're looking at the rest of the roster and you're asking yourself, I mean, hell, you had a quote from your head coach, and I don't think D'Angelo Russell is going to be the difference in this. Your head coach said clearly the spirit to compete wasn't there. That's not directed at D'Lo. That's directed at your entire squad, your entire team. I'm not putting that on D'Angelo Russell. What I'm saying is you're questioning the effort of your team. Teams lost a couple in a row. They, obviously the big swing against Nikola Jokic and the Denver Nuggets. I don't think D'Lo's the answer. I don't. And if somebody on the chat can argue against that, I'd actually really like to hear the other side. And maybe the other side is the guy's still going to get you 5 or 6 assists a game. His shot is eventually going to fall. I remember when Brian Windhorst was on week and a half ago, 2 weeks ago, whenever it was, he said it's kind of one of those marriages where they both need each other, because the Lakers don't have another player like that can go off and hit 6, 7 threes. Well, now they do, because Dalton Knecht is there. And if the question is going to be, well, they really don't have another guy that could come in and facilitate and do this. Well, Bron's giving you basically 10 assists a night. Do I think they need D'Angelo Russell? I do. Do I think D'Angelo Russell can be a key piece of the Lakers? I do. I don't have any confidence that it's going to change. I don't have any confidence as the season progresses, all of a sudden D'Lo is going to gain this unbelievable confidence. I don't have any confidence that D'Angelo Russell, as the season progresses, is going to become a bigger and bigger piece. It looks like he's going the other way. It looks like D'Angelo Russell's value on the Lakers is it's getting further and further behind you than it is further in front of you. Let's look at a couple of these comments. Again, I know this is me just laying into D'Angelo Russell, and I don't think he's the only reason why the Lakers have kind of struggled here these last couple of games, everything else. But I don't feel like D'Lo is an asset to the Lakers anymore. And I see his minutes coming like this. I see his numbers continuing to go down. What's going to change that? Is that D'Lo that's going to find a way to, find lightning in a bottle and say, no, that's it. Everything I got to give to this Lakers team. I don't have the confidence in that. Let's see what you guys think here. D'Lo should have been traded. For who? I'm going to go back and I'm going to say this. It takes two to tango. This is the only way you're going to trade D'Angelo Russell. Let me help everybody out here. The only way you're going to trade D'Angelo Russell is you're showing he's off your books next year. Not he's a player that you want to build your future around. You're basically saying he's off your books next year. And you're saying we got 2 first-round picks that we're also going to throw in here. You want us to take a bad contract? Because that's the way it's going to get done. D'Lo's not getting traded because a team out there is saying to themselves, that's our future point guard. D'Lo's not getting traded because there's a team out there that says, we're going on a deep playoff run. We need D'Lo. I don't see that happening. I definitely don't see that happening. All right, let's see where we go here. Why are we still talking about D'Lo? He should be gone. Because he's still here. D'Lo in playoff mode all regular season. Damn. Jeez, the creativity here. D'Lo is a vet minimum status next season. I would not be surprised if somebody tells me that D'Lo is making 5-6 a year next year and he got a one or 2 year deal. I honestly would not be surprised at all. And this is coming from a dude that thought coming into the offseason that he had value. You know what? He's got the player option. You know why he signed that player option with the Lakers? Because nobody was offering him a deal that he thought was better than the 18 that the Lakers were already going to guarantee him if he stayed with the Lakers. All right, let's see more. A couple more here. D'Lo getting 18 mil for the clown show, for this clown show. David will mix in a good morning because we're going hard to the hoop right now on D'Lo. D'Lo shooting 28% from 3. That's D'Lo's fault. I don't know about crypto water. I can't wait until Russell is off this team. This is how everybody feels. Look, this is I think what I'm sharing, the sentiment I'm sharing, is how a lot of Laker fans feel right now about D'Angelo Russell. There's not going to be many people that have his back. There's not going to be many people out there that are sympathizing with him. Do you guys remember before the season started, one of the first things I said about D'Lo? I'm like, I feel bad for the guy. Every time the guy turns, another team is looking to trade him. D'Lo's not helping himself out here. D'Lo went from the starting lineup. Okay, now you're coming off the bench. Hey, you're coming off the bench because we need your production off the bench. I was sold on it. I'm like, yeah, it's a great idea. D'Lo, Lakers need some bench help. They need another facilitator. He can be himself. There's nothing in his game that gives me confidence that D'Lo is going to turn this thing around. Let's look at some more here. Scottie Pippen Jr., better than D'Lo. That dude all of a sudden is balling too. God, that's another mistake by the Lakers. Or maybe it's not a mistake. Maybe it's other teams that say, you don't know how to develop players. We know how to develop them. D'Lo apologists about to be real mad in a month or two. D'Lo thinks D'Lo is doing great and pats himself on the back. There's not going to be much support for D'Angelo Russell out there. There really isn't. D'Lo gets traded simply because he's an expiring contract. All right, so I think we're all on the same page on that. I'm looking at him, and I'm before the show started, I'm like, is D'Lo a conversation here? And I'm asking myself, I'm like, what has this guy really done over these last handful of games? I start looking at the stats. This guy hasn't done anything. He hasn't done anything over these last 5 games. At least if you want to go at Austin Reeves and say, yeah, Reeves was the game against the Orlando Magic, Reeves was struggling. Okay, Reeves responds with another good game. Reeves, it never feels like his body language is off or anything like that. He's going to have bad games, but that's going to be different on a night in, night out basis. Last thing I'm going to get into. I did not think I was going to go this long Lakers, but I'll finish this off here real quick. How about Russell Westbrook on Saturday night? You don't think that guy was enjoying serving it to the Los Angeles Lakers? He put something out on Instagram as well, I think kind of talking shit a little bit. It wasn't talking shit, but he, put out a video of him, I think, walking out of the hotel. They not like us, playing in the background. I'm sure he's feeling good about himself. Russ had against the Lakers, and he was giving it to the fans as well. 14 points, 11 assists, 7 rebounds. I got to be honest with everybody here. I know there's probably a lot of Laker fans that hate on Russ. I'm appreciative of Russell Westbrook, what he did over his career. I really am. I liked him when he was with the Oklahoma City Thunder. I like that he was a triple-double machine. It was just an awful fit with the Lakers, and everyone was to blame. Jovan Buha of The Athletic had put something out and basically just talking about, Lakers are getting ready to play the Denver Nuggets, and Russell Westbrook's on that team, and was put out something that basically everyone kind of took accountability for the trade. I was making a little bit of a case here that everything that went wrong with the Lakers when Russ was here was supposedly his fault, which is BS. But that dude served it to the Lakers in his own way on Saturday and let everybody know that he was serving it to the Lakers the best way that he can. It's not like Russ is the old Russ where he's dropping 30, 10, and 10. But at this stage of his career, he obviously felt a certain way about that. All right, let's talk a little bit NFL here. Do I got anything on Russ that I can put on here? Let's see what we got here. Westbrook had 10 assists in 11 minutes. Stupid. Russ was scapegoated. It's bad when Westbrook is trolling you. Yeah, you're right. By the way, I think this one to me is his entire tenure with the Lakers. This one to me is the most important one to look at. Literally everything that went wrong with the Lakers, it was blamed on Russ. You don't have to be a Russ fan. I don't blame Laker fans if they're not. I'm, you guys know how big of an NBA fan I am. I enjoy watching the game of basketball. And I think of Russ. When I think of Russ, I know he's been on a lot of teams. What was he on now? Since he left the Oklahoma City Thunder, Houston, Washington, Lakers, Denver. I might be missing a team somewhere in the middle there. He's been on a lot of squads. I will remember him with his time with the Oklahoma City Thunder, the battles that he had with Kevin Durant, trying to get past the Golden State Warriors, trying to get past the Lakers and some of these other teams. That's how I'm going to remember the guy. I know his career, what it's been since then, has been completely different. All right, last night I got a chance, as most people did, got a chance to watch a little Sunday Night Football. When there's these elite game or these standalone games, Sunday Night Football, Monday Night Football, Thursday Night Football, damn, when you have the right matchup, does it make it great? And when you don't have the right matchup, I have literally no interest at all. I thought last night, and if you guys go back to the show on Friday, I don't think last night was a surprise that the Eagles beat the Rams. I didn't think it was going to be as lopsided as it was. 37-20, the final score. What a weird position for the Rams. By the way, just real quick on the game, Saquon Barkley, 26 carries, 255 yards. He had over 300 yards, all-purpose yards, receiving and rushing the ball. 300 all-purpose yards against the Rams. I think he went off, if I'm right here, a 70-yard touchdown run and a 72-yard touchdown run. First play of the second half. I don't know which one it was, the 70 or the 72, but Saquon was incredible. I love watching good NFL players that leave a bad team and now all of a sudden can shine. Saquon was with, the Giants for 6 years. And Giants, listen, they're known for being a good franchise. They've just been, awful here over these last handful of years. But Saquon gets a chance to go to Philly. He's got a real line. He's got a real quarterback. He's got a real defense. He's got, obviously a coaching staff that's playing into his hands. And Saquon is just an absolute beast. He got on the right team and he's able to shine the way he is. But 255 yards, I don't know if I want to give him credit or I want to ask the Rams, how do you let a running back in today's NBA drop 255 on you and get 300 all-purpose yards? But a couple things I think came out of last night's game for me. I thought the Eagles were going to win the game. I didn't think the Eagles were going to dominate the Rams the way they did. There is a certain class in the NFL, and I'm just going to stay with the NFC right now because Rams are obviously in the NFC. There's a certain class in the NFL. The class last night that you saw from the Eagles is top tier. That's a top-notch restaurant. That's your version of Mastro's Steakhouse. You want the best of the best, you're going to that restaurant. And there's only two teams that are invited to the best of the best. It's the Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles. That's your NFC right there. In the NFC, you got two teams that get to go eat at the finest dining restaurant that's out there. They're ordering a nice tomahawk steak, and they're getting their lobster. They're getting everything else. And then all the other teams in the NFC got to wait. They got to eat second, sometimes third. All the scraps that are left over for the Lions and the Eagles, everybody else gets to eat after that. And the Rams are pretty far down that road as well. I thought that's what yesterday in the NFL just stamped. The Detroit Lions and the Philadelphia Eagles are the class of the NFC. Rams, Niners, Seahawks. I don't care who else you want to talk about in the NFC. You guys are going to eat a little bit further down the road. When they're done eating, when they had a good time and they drank their wine and they had their bourbon and they leave the restaurant, then you guys can go walk into the same restaurant and it's not going to be the same food or anything along those lines. The Rams are just a very average team. And like I said, there are certain classes. The Rams are nowhere near that class. Here's the good news for the Los Angeles Rams. The good news is the division sucks. The good news for the Rams is they are remarkably in a position right now where they could still win the division. If you go look at the NFC West right now, Seahawks are winning the division at 6-5. Arizona is 6-5. And then you got the Rams and the 49ers. Niners got their asses kicked by the Packers yesterday. I know they got a lot of injuries, but this just looks like one of those seasons. Maybe the Niners have their shot to win a Super Bowl, and that's it. That's how these windows work. We'll see what happens. Rams are 5-6. Niners are 5-6. The good news for the Rams is after all this, after that shellacking last night, they are still in a position to win the division. Which sounds funny. They started the season out 1-4. They played good football over the last 4 or 5 weeks. A couple good teams that they played, Miami And I'm not telling you Miami's a great team, but Miami's starting to turn things around as well. I think they've won 3 in a row now. They had a lot of injuries in the beginning of the year as well. Tua was out. But looking at the Rams right now, the only good news for the Rams, and I think this is the goal for the Rams, you got to win the division to make the playoffs. And they're not far. In a weird way, they kind of control their own destiny. I was looking at their schedule here. Here's their schedule. They're at New Orleans next week. Then they host Buffalo. Then they're at San Francisco. Then they're at the Jets. Then they host Arizona and Seattle. Looking at this schedule right now, I don't think they make the playoffs. You just got too many. First off, they're unpredictable. You're not really 100% sure which team is going to show up. New Orleans is not that good of a team. They're 4-7, but the Rams are not that good of a team either. The game against Buffalo is one of the elite teams in the AFC. That's certainly going to be a tough one. I don't care how beat up San Francisco is, how poor they've played. At San Francisco is clearly going to be a tough game. And then you got some games where you clearly can win. You got Arizona, you got Seattle. Rams' problem is they could lose to anybody. So that's going to be their issue. Their issue is they're a very average team. The best the Rams can do right now is you somehow find a way to sneak in the playoffs. But I think there's an expiration date on this Rams team. And if you made the playoffs and you lost in that first round or whatever the case is, honestly, I think at this point you would just call that a success. But they're going to have their challenges in front of them. And I don't think it's the world's going to end that they lost to Philly. But I think it just tells you there are certain classes in the NFL, and they're clearly not one of those classes. All right, let's see what we got here. When the Rams lose, it's a good day. How about how loud that Philly crowd is at that game? Listen, that's just the reality. That is just literally the reality of, I think, football in LA for now. And it's going to take a really long time to change. And it may never change. But listening to the game on Sunday Night Football, it sounded like that game was in Philly. And that happens. It's going to happen when they're playing the Niners. It's going to happen where, Charger games, that's a completely different level because the Chargers have no history in LA. And they alienated an entire fan base, which they clearly had with 50 years down here in San Diego. But that just sounded like they were at home. Saquon's still running. That dude was just incredible yesterday. 2-4 in their next 6. Thank you, brother. I appreciate that. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So I'm going to get better. I'll keep rolling up my sleeves, whatever the hell we have to do. This is it. This is the gig. There's no other place I'd rather be than building my own show and my own brand. So, or continuing to build it because I've had this YouTube channel for a while anyways. All right. There's another game coming up tonight. Chargers. Won't spend too much time on this. We can react to some of that game tomorrow. All right. Chargers got a game coming up tonight. Chargers right in the thick of it. 7-3. What do you know? You get a good coach and all of a sudden things can change. John Harbaugh going up tonight. I don't think they beat Baltimore. I think Baltimore is one of the elite teams in the AFC as well, but this will be a fun game. I think the Chargers make the playoffs. We'll see how much noise they're going to be able to make. I don't think I think games like this or against Pittsburgh, there are certain teams in the AFC that want to muddy the water, want to play smash mouth football. That's going to be Baltimore tonight. Pittsburgh plays that style as well. These are all beatable teams. Don't get me wrong. I mean, KC is KC, and I know they haven't been all that great this year, but they happen to be just 10-1. Buffalo's 9-2. There's your class in the NFL. But I'm looking forward to tonight's game. I think tonight's game should be a good matchup, and I think my Ravens got it. You know what I mean? You guys know I've been a Ravens fan. Since I was born, I was a Ravens fan. Now, I don't know who Chargers play next week. I might switch teams and, all of a sudden become – who do Chargers have next week? Let's take a quick look here. Just a quick little second here. I got to be honest with you guys. Next week, I'm a Falcons fan. I can't tell you why. I just am. Was anybody watching SC and UCLA over the weekend? You know what's interesting here? Let me see what we got here. SC UCLA. So while the Laker game was going on Saturday night, and I was doing the post game show, and I'm doing my thing, I'm getting a chance to do it from the arena again. It's fun to do it from the arena, by the way. So I'm doing my thing. I'm doing the post game show. I saw some people putting in the chat SC UCLA score. I think at that point it was like 16-13. UCLA went for it at their own 35 or 34, wherever they were on a fourth down, and they got stood up. SC added a field goal. UCLA had a chance to drive down. They didn't make it happen. They lose the game 19-13. And I didn't really care about the specifics of the game. If I didn't have a Laker game that night, I'd have probably gone to that game. I think that's a fun game to be at. It's a fun game for Los Angeles. It's a fun game, USC and UCLA. Here's the problem with that game. And I know people are going to say, they'll probably disagree with this. That's fine. It didn't mean anything. The game it meant nothing. Tell me what USC at UCLA meant on Saturday. You got one squad that's 5-5 that was supposed to be, especially after they beat LSU to start. It's their first season in the Big Ten. It's the reason why the Pac-12 got completely disintegrated, however you want to put it. SC is supposed to walk into the Big Ten and play with the big boys. They're 5-5. They're just trying to get bowl eligible, which I don't even really know what the point of being bowl eligible is if you're USC. Okay, that's fine. Extra revenue, blah, blah, blah. Do whatever it is. That game on Saturday night, the only storyline to me is, can UCLA embarrass USC even more this season? Can UCLA, after losing their defensive coordinator, goes to USC, Deshaun Foster's first year at UCLA? The only thing that I thought was interesting in that game is, can UCLA add another bad moment and a black eye to the USC program? It didn't happen. Close game, exciting. I guess the best thing that you can ask for in a game like that, can you go into the fourth quarter, a couple minutes left to go, and you don't know who's going to win? That's the only thing I really took out of that game. SC, if they beat UCLA, they're supposed to, and they did that. And UCLA, it's not like, okay, maybe that win would have done something for UCLA. But even if you're sitting here saying that you're beating a 5-5 USC team, it's not like you're beating a 9-1 SC team. It's not like they're ranked top 10 or top 15, top 20. They're so far from the rankings, it doesn't mean anything. The only real thing that I kind of took away after the game on Saturday was what an awful start for both of these schools in the Big Ten. And the real question and the real challenge is going to be how much of this is going to change down the road. I said this before. We talked about it a little bit earlier in the season, that I'm giving Lincoln Riley a full next year before making any decisions on, what he's going to end up doing. Ryan Abraham, who covers USC for USCfootball.com, came on the show a couple of weeks ago and basically said the only reason why USC has not fired Lincoln Riley, it's probably not the only reason, but there are a lot of financial reasons why they haven't fired him. It's just going to cost too much. So that's part of the reason why they haven't done it. I saw this as well. This came out, I don't know if it was over the weekend. Top inside linebacker Ty Jackson flips from USC to Florida. So we'll see what kind of an effect this season has. And Lincoln Riley, is this guy still got that magic touch with quarterbacks? Does he still have that magic touch with trying to turn USC around? We'll have to wait and see, but certainly not the year anybody thought people were going to get from USC. The only thing I'm going to mention, I'm going to do a little bit of the weekend recap here, and then we're going to call it a day. Thank you so much for hanging out for the full hour here. But the only other thing that I'm going to do here, I thought college football was crazy over the weekend. I think college football right now, and I've said this before, just looking at this top 12, and you got all these teams now that got a chance of making the playoff. It's Oregon, Ohio State, Texas, Penn State, Notre Dame, Georgia, Tennessee, Miami, SMU, Indiana, and Boise State. That's your top 12. Alabama lost. They're out the top 12. They got 3 losses in the SEC. Ole Miss, Lane Kiffin, they had a bad loss at Florida. They're now out of that top 12. That Arizona State BYU game, I'm still trying to figure out what happened there towards the end. So it was fun. I mean, there's some good storylines. Ohio State demolishing Indiana. No surprise there at all. I think they're the best school in the country. But this just kind of shows that the landscape of college football is so much different, and I'm all in. I love it. I really do. I'm going to be following these games, even though I have, no skin in the game at all. All right, let's see what a couple of people got here. UCLA blew it. Slee, lifelong Ravens fan. You guys know. I mean, I love the Ravens. Ravens been my team for a long time. Eddie, Slee, the teams have played 94 times and are crosstown rivals. It always means something. From that perspective, yes. From the perspective of SC's not playing for anything. UCLA's not playing for anything. That's my point. My point is that game is different if UCLA is sitting at 6-3, and I'm just, making up stats here. UCLA is sitting at 6-3, and SC's at 7-2. And if UCLA wins this game, then they knock USC out of a chance for a Big Ten championship. That's what I'm talking about. I know the two schools have a rivalry. What the hell are they playing for? Nobody's going to look back and say, remember back in 2024 when SC and UCLA played for nothing? Because that's really what it was. That's my point. As in, yes, them playing against each other, there are stakes, but they're not real stakes in the college football landscape. So that's what I'm talking about from there. Okay, final thing I'm going to get into here. So I saw a couple movies over the weekend. I don't know if you guys you guys still go to the theater? I'm still a theater guy. I like going to the theater. Some people, I think since COVID, is like, that's it. They're out. They're never going to a theater again. I enjoy going to a theater. Now, there's some things that happen at a theater that, the guy to my right went to see Gladiator 2 on Friday night. Let's just do me a favor. When you're eating your popcorn, why don't you close your mouth a little bit? Not asking for much here, okay? I don't need to hear during one of the best fight scenes in Gladiator 2, you chomping at your pop. Close your mouth. That's all I'm asking for. Okay, stop slurping your soda like you're 9 years old. There's some moments anytime you're in a public setting, not exactly the best, not exactly the greatest. But I saw a couple of movies. Gladiator. Here's the problem with Gladiator. I saw Gladiator and Conclave, if I said that right. I saw Gladiator. Here's the problem with Gladiator. The first one was so good. How the hell is it going to live up to the expectations? Of course, it did not live up to the expectations. So if you're going to go see Gladiator, I need you to take down your expectations about 3-4 notches. Okay? Gladiator 2 was USC versus UCLA. Gladiator 1 was Alabama, Georgia for the national championship. Does that help? I think that's a good comp right there. Okay? Gladiator 2, watch that movie like you're going to watch USC versus UCLA in 2024. That's the best comp that I can give you right there. And then the other movie I mentioned, I saw Conclave, I think is the right one there. It's where the Pope passes, and then there's basically a complete internal fight within the Vatican of who's going to be the next Pope. Kind of interesting, actually. I thought it was a pretty good movie. All right, my people. Do we got any comments here, or are we done? Movie theater is a good... Don't say that. Don't do that. Slee was rant. Yeah, somebody said I got to do a Slee was soapbox and just, all I'm asking for is this. Just don't crunch so loud. Okay? And cover your mouth when you cough. What's going on with people in these theaters? How about get on an airplane? The way people, they're just way too comfortable. They're way too comfortable. All right, that's all I got. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate you guys being a part of the show. Back on tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Busy couple of days here. So tomorrow we'll go 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. And then we'll do a Laker post-game show for Lakers and the Phoenix Suns. And then Wednesday we're going to do the same thing, 8 a.m. to 9 a.m. Then we got a post-game show after that. Thursday, Friday, no daily show, but I will still do a post-game show on Friday. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you for being a part of the show. Somebody's asking, it was not an AMC theater. It was not an AMC theater, for those who are asking. They got a couple small theaters in Pasadena, so I went to one of those out there. Guys, have a great rest of your day. If you can take 2 seconds and subscribe to the channel if you don't mind, and we will continue to put up as much content as we can here. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for being a part of the show, and I hope you guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Thanks, guys.